together, but still it's farewell. Maybe we'll come back to earth, who can tell? I guess there is no one to blame. We're leaving ground. Will things ever be the same again? It's the final countdown. Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we are checking out the final countdown by Europe. What a tune this one is. Really good one for New Year's Eve, in the countdown to the final chimes of the new year kind of thing. I was just thinking about it before, and I think I've played this tune on definitely more New Year's Eves than I haven't in my entire life. Like, this is pretty sure from the age of like 12 or 13 when the tune came out. I've played it like every New Year's Eve up until maybe 10, 15 years ago when I stopped doing the cover band thing. So, yeah, weird thing. Anyway, I'm going to do like a acoustic version of this tune, so it's the kind of thing that you might want to play with your friends and family. It's relatively easy chords. There is a B minor chord in it that you can kind of blag your way through. I'll show you a little cheat for that if you're not feeling confident with your B minor. I'm going to show you a way of incorporating the main melody into the chords as well, because that's kind of a fun thing to do. But remember, if you can't do that, if you find it tricky, because it's not super easy, you can always just sing the bit while you play the chords. So we're going to start off with a look at the super simple chords, and then I'll take you through how to fancy it up if you choose to go that way. Let's start off with the chords that go under that main riff melody. So it's E minor, C, A minor, D, E minor, C, A minor, D, E minor to D with F sharp bass to G and then to C, then B7 sus to B7. So E minor for one bar, 2, 3, 4, C, A minor, D. That section repeats around as many times as you want. The E minor to C, A minor, let's do it one more time. I think the intro goes around 4 times through that sequence. Next section is 2 beats on E minor, 2 beats on D chord with an F sharp bass, or just D chord if you can't deal with the thumb over the top. If you can just play to D, G, any variation of G that you fancy doing will be fine, to C. Now this next chord is a B7 sus. You can play it that way if you know how, but I think a nicer one is this. It's like an A chord, but you move everything over a string. So when muting the thicker string, 2nd fret, 2nd fret, 2nd fret, open, open. Now technically, to make it a regular B7 again, you'd drop first finger back to the 1st fret and little finger would go down on that note F sharp, 2nd fret. So from here, little finger off, first finger back, little finger down. There's a regular B7. And then we got 4 bars of E minor. Okay, but I often like this. So I'm just then not playing the thinner string. I'm not putting little finger down. Just like playing those middle 4 strings. But it wouldn't even matter if you play that thinner string anyway. It's not, what you're after is that sound. That's the important bit. So one last time through that. 3, 4, E minor. C, A minor, 1, 2, 3, 4. The next section, it's E minor to D with F sharp bass and G. I'm going to C, B7 sus to B7, E minor, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 bars of the E minor there in between that intro riff and the start of the verse. If you're playing it on your own, it doesn't really matter how long you stay on that. You could stay on it a little bit longer while you wait for all your friends to get the lyrics up on their phones if that's what's going on. So let's get stuck into the verse now. So we're starting with the E minor. We're leaving to E minor. 3rd bar of E minor to A minor for 1 bar. E minor, and then it's another E minor. E minor to D with an F sharp bass to G, 3, 4, C. And then it's a D in this town. G with a D with an F sharp bass, E minor with a D bass to C. We're gonna B minor, same again. Okay, let me go through with that a little bit slower now and explain some of these other weird things going on. For 3 bars, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, then A minor for 1. Back to E minor for 2 bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, then E minor, D with an F sharp bass to G. Next section, C to D, G with a D with an F sharp bass, walk down to E minor. Now this little move here, what's going on? It's an E minor, then an E minor with a D bass. Often played like that, so E minor. So it's literally, we just want a D as the lowest note. But a nice trick I like to use, it's not technically correct, I guess, to play it this way, but it gives you that. Now, I know I've neglected to mention there's a cap on the 2nd fret. It's literally moving those 2 fingers for the E minor up 3 frets, but targeting this note as the lowest note, so no longer playing that as the lowest note. And that way you get this step down from the E minor, D bass to the C. Okay? C. You're gonna be the same again. Now, this is a B minor, and for most beginners they'll see a B minor or a bar chord and be like, oh, I can't do it. Now, in this particular case, the B minor and the D they're really kind of similar sounding. So if you're really struggling, you're gonna see the same again. You can just jump to the D early. It doesn't sound exactly right, but B minor is one of those chords where even if you're struggling with bar chords generally, you might find that the B minor is kind of more possible. If you can play F, you probably find that B minor is not too bad, actually. It feels, for most people, it feels a little easier than an F chord, although I'm not exactly sure why that is. Play one more time through that verse so you can see all of that in action. I'll do it a little bit slower though. So 2, 3, 4, E minor. We're leaving together, but still it's farewell. And maybe we'll come back to earth, who can tell? I guess there is no one to blame. We're leaving ground, will things ever be the same again? It's the final countdown. Now you see there, I just strummed 1 strum per bar most of the way through that, but that little bit on the D at the end, a very specific rhythm pattern of 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. It's the final countdown. Really, really important to get that little bit. As far as the rhythm of the other parts go, because we're doing like an acoustic version, it doesn't need to be the kind of the rock gallop that you kind of hear on the original recording. Even as simple as like Old Faithful, down, down, up, together, but still it's farewell. You can do almost anything. And maybe we'll come back to earth, who can tell? My memory's got a little bit wonky. So doing that down, down, up, up thing, you could go, we're leaving together. Down. Accents on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's obviously got a lot more kind of movement, so it depends on whether you're going for like a bit more energetic thing or a bit more of a laid back thing. So, have a bit of an experiment, see what you feel confident with, because that's the most important thing when you're doing this, especially if you're playing it with friends on New Year's Eve. You want it to be confident and feeling nice and kind of easy and not struggling to do some sort of rhythm pattern that you're not that familiar with. So err on the side of easy patterns rather than ones that are a little bit difficult. Okay, so that's the nuts and bolts that you need to be able to play this tune. If you're playing it acoustically, you're probably going to be working on your own arrangement, but you probably want to keep it loose. In my experience, if I'm playing this kind of thing at a party, there's going to be people like trying to find the words. You might find that, you forget a little bit or whatever. So just don't let yourself get stressed or tied into it's got to be a very specific kind of a thing. If you end up playing the riff around a bunch more times because your mates are singing along and having a great time, then that's fine. You don't need to stick to any sort of set arrangement. Most people are going to be flicking through the lyrics on their phones, trying to figure it out and trying to remember it. And it should just be a fun thing, a fun sing-along kind of idea. So don't fill yourself full of loads of pressure on that front. However, if you want to have a go at doing this, introducing the melody part for the song as well, that'll probably take a little bit more advanced practice there. So what I'm going to do is show you through how I'm approaching it, but it is just like I was mucking around playing the chords and I'm like, I can kind of play the keyboard riff there as well. So I thought I'd give you a little bit of a look at that as well. Yeah, but it's less set. Like, feel free to experiment and see what way to do it. If you got a 2 guitar thing going on, you might find that one guitar player plays the chords and the other one plays the melody. That would also sound pretty cool. But let's check that out now. So the first chord is an E minor, so you want to strum that. So the melody there, B, A, B, E. And I'm talking like the capo's not there. I've put the capo on because that's the original recorded key, but you can play this without a capo as well. You don't need one. That's the melody. So strum. Okay, so E minor. I'm using the open B, little finger down, 2nd fret of the 3rd string, back to the open. Then I'm playing this note on the 4th string. In fact, I'll probably go 1, 2. So 1, 2, and a 3, 4, C. So then I'm doing C, C. There's the melody. Okay. Then A minor. So this is now strumming A. 1, 0, 1 on the 2nd string, 2nd fret on the 4th string. D. Now here, it is, I think just a regular D works, but then I'm missing a sound on the bottom end there. So I tend to play D with an F sharp. 2, 0, 2, 0 on the 3rd string, 4th fret on the 4th string, 2nd fret, back to our E minor. E minor. C. A minor. D. E minor. C. D. A minor, sorry. E minor, D with an F sharp bass. I'm just splitting those fingers, trying to target that note. But again, if you hit some of the other strings, don't get yourself in a pickle over it. It doesn't really matter. Whatever. The next part is probably the hardest part. So I'm going from G, but I'm trying to mute the thinger string and drag the pick down. So the last note is that B, the 2nd string. And now this is a little bit awkward. It's the B, A, G, F sharp. I'm saying the notes as if the capo's not there, but and I'm targeting that, but it's with the C. That's the melody part. G, C, There's our B sus to B. Real slow right through that whole section now. So E minor. C. A minor. D. F sharp bass, the tricky bit, G, C, B7, sus, B7. Again, I'd encourage you not to be too fussy about this kind of thing. If I was performing a concert and I was playing that as an arrangement, then yeah, I'd want to spend a lot of time on trying to get it exactly right and thinking about the picking and the fingering. But in a jam situation where I'm playing it for mates at a party, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if I get some wrong notes in there, if I don't quite play it right. I think it's always a good idea to try and keep yourself in time, because people, even if they're not musicians, they feel time, and they much more than they feel if a note is wrong. So trying to make sure that you keep your rhythm solid even if the melody goes wrong is important. You definitely don't want to have like a, you're going along. It just feels like, oh, lumpy. You'd be better off having it weird. So if it starts to go wrong, try and keep that rhythm going anyway. I think that's an important part of the deal. If you're ever performing a tune like this with friends, the rhythm should be the guiding light, the thing that you're most paying attention to, especially if people are trying to sing along. You don't want to stop the rhythm there, because people won't be able to sing along. It'll all get uncomfortable and everyone will stop. So assuming that you're watching this just before New Year's Eve, I really hope that the next year is filled with love and laughter for you, and have a great one. I'll see you for plenty more lessons very soon. You take care. Bye.